This exciting episode, revolutionary engines, fake paralysis, and a broken marriage. Well, 2 out of the 3 are new for Perryland. Buckle up! It's Perry Mason, Season 5, Episode 10, The Case of the Injured Innocent. Welcome to the Perry Pod. I'm your humble host, Jonathan Searcy. My purpose, pretty simple. Provide an audio companion to every episode of television's greatest legal drama, Perry Mason. Each episode, we give you a summary of the plot. We even compare plots with the Earl Stanley Gardner novel. If the episode was an adaptation, we give you a little trivia, reveal the episode's theme, and revel in a Perry proverb. That's a pearl of wisdom from the man himself. Before heading to the water cooler where, just like Perry, Della, and Paul, we can discuss the ins and outs of our fave legal cruise adventures. But first, say it with me, to the law library! Each episode in the law library, we examine a legal conundrum from the episode to find courtroom precedents for future cases. This episode's legal question is all about corporate options and intellectual property rights. At the end of our episode, Walter Eastman asks Perry an intriguing question.
Are you going to go through with the deal, Mr. Eastman?
I don't know. It all depends on Perry.
Oh?
Can I legally exercise my option but turn it over to another company for development and retain a percentage?
The question involves several key legal considerations: option rights transfer, intellectual property protection, and revenue sharing structures. The original option agreement would need to allow for transfer or assignment, and the investor, that is Mooney, we'll meet him later, would likely need to consent to any transfer. The patents would need to be properly filed and assigned, and development rights would need clear documentation. Finally, you would need a carefully structured agreement defining percentage splits, complete with proper accounting and audits rights. Perry's confident response suggests the deal is doable with proper legal structuring.
Well, I think a good lawyer should be able to work that out.
You probably know this whole kit and caboodle best as a licensing deal with royalty provisions. It's gonna happen. Now, let's get to the plot of this episode. The Case of the Injured Innocent. Walter Eastman's got cash to burn and the option of investing in a car with a revolutionary new engine. No valves, no pistons, no cams. Call him an empiricist, but he wants to see the car perform before he goes whole hog. Enter driver Vincent Daniele, who smooches the daughter of inventor Mooney before taking the car for a spin. Look out, look out, look out!
Now remember, Vincent, this is a test run, not a European road race. I've disconnected the tack cable so your ear can get used to listening to my engine. It'll tell you when to downshift better than any contrivance.
Oh, yes, Professor, you've told me.
Here's what the doctor has to say about all that.
It doesn't make sense medically. There's no reason at all why that man shouldn't be able to walk.
But he can't.
It would seem so.
Seem?
Oh, the paralysis is probably just the result of shock. If so, a day or so should bring him back to normal.
But there's something up with Daniele. He wants to shift into love gear when he's alone with Mrs. Eastman.
When I heard that ambulance doctor say that because my back was hurt, maybe I was paralyzed, the idea came to me. Look, darling, I'm no more paralyzed than you. But it's a brilliant idea in the proof of a second, isn't it? If a man is paralyzed, he cannot walk. And if he can't walk, who can suspect he's able to get up and move around?
Suspect him of what?
Darling, to see you gone unhappy with that man.
Walter's fed up with the Italian stallion and calls Perry to send him packing.
As for Daniele, I don't like him. I believe the man's dishonest. Whatever liability I have in my contract, pay it off.
What if he's uncooperative?
Pay him more money. A man like that has a price for everything. Just make sure I need to have nothing more to do with him.
But Daniele's got other plans, trying to convince Kate to help him rob Walter Eastman.
You're going to kill him. Vincent, we can't do this. We could never live.
Don't be a child. When you strike the match, the fire that follows is of your own making.
Oh.
You are as deeply committed as I am.
No, Vincent.
You
no.
want to spend your life a cold, empty shell? All right. But I don't want you that way. No. I want you proudly, as a living, breathing, loving woman.
Listen to me, Vincent.
You listen to me. A phone call. Just a little phone call. Or else I have to leave tomorrow.
When Kate realizes murder's on the menu, she makes a desperate call. Look out, look out, look out!
Don't let him leave. Make him stay there. Don't let Walter leave the club.
I'm sorry, Mrs. Eastman. I haven't seen your husband. But the board meeting broke up half an hour ago.
What? Oh, no!
But instead of saving Walter, she finds Daniele dead. And when the police discover tire tracks matching Walter's car, ruh-roh.
Mr. Eastman, once more, just to make absolutely sure. Is this where you parked your car last night for 2 hours?
Yes. The front wheels were practically at the edge of the precipice.
But there are no marks of your car or any car here on the Horseshoe Bend.
What?
Isn't that rather odd, Mr. Eastman? Because we did find tire marks of your car further down, just a few feet from where Vincent Daniele was killed and thrown over the cliff into the gully.
Evidence keeps piling up. Listen to what the doc found on that wrench.
Now, Doctor, I show you People's Exhibit 1. This wrench has been identified as being part of a distinctive match set belonging to the defendant. Could a wrench such as that have been used to kill Vincent Daniele?
It could.
And were there any bits of physical evidence discovered in connection with this particular wrench?
Yes, it was subjected to laboratory analysis and revealed both hairs and blood of the same type as the decedent's were adhered to it.
Even the butlers got dirt to dish.
Now, Mr. Ellis, did you ever observe anything which might have made Mr. Eastman resentful of his guest, Mr. Daniele?
Yes. I saw Mr. Daniele holding Mrs. Eastman in his arms.
Do you know if Mr. Eastman knew about this?
Yes. It was on the afternoon of the murder. I went and told him.
But Perry smells something fishy about those tire tracks. Watch how he sets up Townley.
Mr. Townley, isn't it a fact that you gave Daniele a check for $1,000?
It is.
Is that all the money you paid him? Didn't you give him at least one other payment just the evening before the car was tested? Mr. Townley, we're prepared to put a witness on the stand who will testify that he saw you in the bar of the country club hand over to Mr. Daniele a large amount of cash.
The real killer? None other than Kate's brother, Kirby Evans. Here's his twisted confession.
And I drove back and changed wheels. I put my wheel, the one that left the marks, on Walter's car. And then in the middle of the night, I went to the horseshoe turn, and I rubbed out the tire marks that Walter had made that proved he had been there. And now, with Kate still married to Walter, I could get all his money. You see, I could get all of Walter's money. All of it. All of it.
Kick him to the curb, Kirby.
For over a year, he lied to both of you, inventing love affairs that just hadn't happened, inciting each of you against the other. I had Paul check the names of Walter's so-called lady friends. They were non-existent, just as the stories he told Walter about Kate were untrue.
Looks like Eastman wants to spend some time with Kate now. Just a note, it's harder to repair a marriage than it is an engine. The more you know. Now, let's get trivial, shall we? Each episode in our trivia section, I give you 3 takeaways. A Paul is a subject worth investigating more. Adela is a deep dive on an actor or actress who guest starred in the episode. And a Perry is something we learn about our intrepid hero. Our Paul for this episode involves Mooney's revolutionary engine design.
When Kirby first told me about this rotary engine, no valves, no pistons, no cams, it sounded like a big moneymaker.
Still does.
Our prompt was a valveless pistonless, camless engine technically possible in 1961? Did any real-world equivalents exist? And just how revolutionary would such an engine have been on the automotive market? Tell us what you find, Pauls. Our Della for this episode could be none other than Alejandro Rey, the ill-fated Vincent Daniele.
As far as our agreement is concerned, consider the contract as torn up and forgotten.
Here's 10 about Alejandro. Number 1, born February 8, 1930, Buenos Aires, Argentina, where he studied acting under renowned teachers Hedwig Schlichter and Milagros de la Vega. Number 2, already an established actor in Argentine films, he made his first splash in a 1957 movie, El Diablo de Vacaciones, though the ambitious around-the-world shoot on the ship Yapeyú never completed. Number 3, got his U.S. break in 1960 when he left a starring role in an Argentine TV show after just 3 months to take a small part in Battle at Bloody Beach. Number 4, made 2 appearances in episodes titled Guillotine and La Strega on the show Thriller, right around the time he played our doomed driver Daniele on Perry Mason. Number 5, scored a memorable role alongside Elvis Presley in 1963's Fun in Acapulco, establishing himself in Hollywood. Number 6, found his signature role as Carlos Ramirez, the charming casino owner and playboy, on The Flying Nun, 1967 to 1970, opposite Sally Field. Number 7, became a U.S. citizen in 1964 and maintained a busy career in both film and television, including roles on Days of Our Lives, Dallas, and panelist spots on Hollywood Squares and Match Game. Number 8, branched into directing for television, helming episodes of The Facts of Life and Forever Fernwood. Number 9, final film role, 1986's Terror Vision. He appeared in 50 movies over the course of his career, including Moscow on the Hudson, where he played Robin Williams' immigration lawyer. Number 10, passed away from lung cancer on May 21st, 1987 in L.A. He was 57, survived by a 14-year-old son, and laid to rest at Holy Cross Cemetery in Culver City. Our Perry for this episode gives us a rare glimpse into our hero's automotive expertise.
Do you know how long it takes to change a tire, Counselor?
Unhappily, from past experience, yes.
You know, Perry's not above admitting his own struggles when it helps his case. And notice how he immediately pivots from that personal admission to a larger point about the sports car's knockoff hubs.
Do you know how much time it takes to change an entire wheel on a sports car that has knockoff hubs?
Why, practically no time at all.
Perry Mason a gearhead? Our theme for this episode is innocence. First, there's the injured innocent of our title. Who's really injured? Who's really innocent? Daniele pretends to be physically injured, but he's actually injuring others through his schemes. Then we've got old Kate Eastman's facade of innocence. Walter thinks she's being corrupted by other men, but nope, she's corrupt too. As for Walter, he's hardly innocent. He's been blind to Kate's needs their entire marriage. And let's not forget Kirby Evans, playing the innocent and concerned brother, sure, while actually being a murderer. Oh, the irony! Evans destroys his own sister's chance at happiness just to control her life and fortune. But innocence is not impossible to find. Perry makes sure his guilty as a husband client is found innocent as an accused murderer. Way to go, Perry! Now it's time for a Perry proverb. This episode's Pearl of Wisdom comes when Perry visits Walter in jail. Walter's worried about Kate, but Perry knows there's another person who needs attention.
Kate's all right, Walter. She's in very capable hands. Now, at this point, it might be wise if you gave some thought to yourself.
Perry well knows that you can't help others if you're not right yourself. Now, let's grab a swig from the water cooler.
You know, there is one thing I don't understand.
Go on, Paul.
Every time we visit the water cooler, we give you deleted scenes. 3 bits that didn't quite make the episode's final cut. Number 1, Paul Drake brings Perry a full report on the revolutionary engine, and when Della asks what makes it so special, Paul just keeps making vroom vroom noises while moving his hand like it's a car. Number 2, Lieutenant Andy Anderson gets caught in the web of his own hunting metaphors. This case is like shooting fish in a barrel, Perry, and I'm going to land this murderer hook, line, and sinker. Before Perry responds, "Something smells fishy about your case, Andy," whereafter he proceeds to let the lieutenant flounder.
Here inside the city limits, it's always open season when the police go fishing.
Number 3, Kirby Evans writes a one-man show behind bars called All His Money.
I could get all his money.
Our Paul prompt from the last episode involved Matisse's Blue Waters.
It's the Blue Waters. The original used to be part of the Rob Wade collection.
We saw this painting in Los Angeles.
No, David. We saw its twin in Los Angeles.
We asked, was it real? What did Matisse's go for in the 1960s? Was counterfeiting like Colross's ubiquitous or unique? Dad Drake was on the case. Quote, "The supposed Matisse painting Blue Water is fictional. Prices varied widely depending on the work's size, medium, and significance, but prominent pieces of Matisse's were worth tens of thousands of dollars. By the late 1960s, some significant Matisse works sold for over $100K at auction." Were the forgery and copy of paintings an issue in the 1960s? Yes. The primary reason, a boom in art appreciation and collecting after World War II, which led to a heightened demand for works by well-known artists. Forgeries of works by artists like Matisse and Picasso were not uncommon, and art experts at the time relied primarily on visual inspection and stylistic analysis, leaving room for skillful forgerers to exploit gaps in expertise or to take advantage of the corruption of unscrupulous art dealers. Thanks, Daddy-O! As always, I'd love to hear from you. Have a comment on the episode or the pod in general? Drop me a line at theperrypod@gmail.com. Next time, grab your dumbbells and lie detectors. When a health club becomes an unhealthy place for the truth, Perry finds himself exercising his legal muscles between a not quite divorced husband, a blackmailing wife, and $7K in forged checks. It's the case of the left-handed liar. Join us, won't you? Until then, this is Jonathan Searcy saying, keep on walking that Park Avenue beat.